Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Another Nepali student found dead in a hostel at the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, India. Ministry of Foreign Affairs begins diplomatic steps. Odisha government says investigation underway. President portal to announce government's policies and programs for the upcoming fiscal at a joint session of both the houses today. Youth employment and under construction projects likely priorities. The fourth round of Iran-US talks over Tehran's nuclear program in Rome postponed for logistical and technical reasons. US denies confirming the timing of the talks to begin with. And Mumbai Indians defeat Rajasthan Royals by 100 runs in the Indian Premier League. Sixth win takes Mumbai top of the table. Gujarat Titans up against Sunrisers Hyderabad this evening. A Nepali student has been found dead in a university hostel at the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, KIIT, in Odisha, India. The Embassy of Nepal in New Delhi has confirmed the incident, citing university officials. The student, identified as Prisha Shah from Birganj, was found dead in her room on the 4th floor of the Queen's Castle 4 QC4 hostel at 8 p.m. yesterday. According to information provided to the embassy by the university, local police have secured the scene and are investigating. SSP Sanjeev Sharma, a Nepal police officer stationed at the embassy, stated that the student was found after she failed to open her door during a routine check at around 7:30 p.m. Authorities forcibly entered the room and discovered her lifeless body. The university's International Relations Department has shared preliminary information with the embassy and further investigation is ongoing. Back home, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has stated diplomatic efforts have begun for the probe. Students at the university noted that most have gone home for the summer vacation, although first-year students are still attending exams. The deceased was also a first-year BTech student. In a statement, the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad ABVP said it is disgraceful and shameful that yet again a Nepali student has been compelled to commit suicide at the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology. The statement also demanded the strictest possible action against the university. Earlier this year, on February 16th, another Nepali student, Prakriti Lamsal from Rupandehi, was also found dead in a hostel at the same university. Now, the government is scheduled to present its policies and programs for the upcoming fiscal year in the federal parliament. President Ramchandra Podar will deliver the government's policy and program in a joint session of both the houses of the federal parliament. The session has been called for 3 p.m. later today. According to Secretary General of the Federal Parliament Secretariat, Padma Prasad Pandeya, the tentative agenda for the joint session has already been set. As per Article 95 of the Constitution of Nepal, the President addresses the joint session of both the houses, and prior discussions have already taken place among coalition parties regarding introducing policies and programs aimed at revitalizing the economy. The upcoming policies and programs are expected to focus on inspiring hope among the youth, promoting entrepreneurship, skill development, startups, business planning, increasing government expenditure, and ensuring good governance. The Federal Parliament Secretariat has already scheduled discussions and approval of the policy and program from May 5th to 11th. Likewise, discussion on the principles and priorities of the appropriation bill will begin on 13th of May as part of the pre-budget discussion. According to Constitution of Nepal, the Finance Minister will present the budget for the upcoming fiscal year in a joint session of the Federal Parliament on 29th of May. Corruption in health equipment procurement has been on the rise. The Commission for Investigation of Abuse of Authority, CIAA, has filed a case with Special Court alleging irregularities in the procurement of health equipment in Madhya Province, while the procurement process at Geta Medical College in Kailali has also come under scrutiny. Irregularities including biased tendering, awarding contracts to specific companies for commissions, and purchasing substandard materials are prevalent at both the centre and provincial levels. Experts warn that such practices will persist unless the procurement process is reformed.
There is a tendency at all levels from the central to the local to establish procurement criteria that favor specific companies. Additionally, some individuals are purchasing equipment despite lacking the necessary manpower to utilize it.
सबभन्दा समस्या भनेको चाहिँ कुन संस्थालाई कस्तो मेसिन औजार चाहिने भन्ने कुरो चाहिँ ट्रान्सपेरेन्ट छैन। खरिद गर्ने अनि जबरजस्ती उक्त अस्पतालमा पठाउने परिपाटी छ त्यसलाई रोक्नु पर्यो त्यो ट्रान्सप्यारेन्ट हुनुपर्छ कुन संस्थालाई चाहिए हो दोस्रो कुरो स्पेसिफिकेसन गर्दाखेरि पनि हामीले करारका बायोमेडिकल इन्जिनियरसँग चाहिँ जो अस्थायी जागिर खाछन् उनीहरुसँग चाहिँ करोडौं अरबको औजार उपकरणको चाहिँ स्पेसिफिकेसन गराइरहेका छौं त्यसैगरी टेन्डर गर्दाखेरि पनि सुनिश्चित हुनुपर्यो बजेटको सुनिश्चितता हुनुपर्यो पहिले नै व्यापारीसँग कन्ट्याक्ट गर्ने अनि कुन स्पेसिफिकेसन गरायो भने चाहिँ कुन मेसिनमा कति फाइदा हुन्छ त्यो अनुसारको डिलिङ चाहिँ सुरुदेखि नै गर्दैको हुनाले चाहिँ अप्ठ्यारोपना गयो
A recent case filed by the CIAA highlights the growing irregularities in the procurement of health supplies and equipment. CIAA submitted 4 charge sheets to the special court accusing government employees and medical equipment suppliers of engaging in irregularities in Madhya province. The case involves 16 individuals and alleges corruption exceeding 520 million Nepali rupees in the procurement of public health laboratories at the local level in Madhya province over 2 fiscal years. The CIAA claims that irregularities were found in procurement agreements for the establishment of public health laboratories across 64 local levels in the fiscal year 2078-79 BS and 72 local levels in 2079-80 BS.
तर अब त चाहिँ लिगली रूपमा चाहिँ निलम्बन नै भइसकेछ 14 जना. अब यो सम्बन्धमा खास गरेर अब हामी चाहिँ मुख्यमन्त्रीजीसँग सरसल्लाह गरेर र म आफू पनि वास्तवमा यथार्थ के हो किनभने यो सुरुवात पिरियड थियो तपाईको संहिता आएको यो सुरुवाती पिरियडको घटना हो. अब यो बीचमा यथार्थ कुरा जबसम्म फाइलहरु अध्ययन गर्दै तबसम्म हामी केही भन्न सक्दैनौं. तर यो घटना चाहिँ एउटा यो संहिताको लागि दुःखद पक्ष.
The 16 bids issued by Geta Medical College in Kailali this month for equipment worth over 280 million Nepali rupees have also been contested. There are suspicions that the college's procurement criteria may have been influenced by a specific company as the model numbers of the equipment were included in the specifications. The central government allocates a conditional budget to all 753 municipalities for the purchase of 98 types of medicines and other goods distributed free of charge. This budget is also sent to provincial governments, ministries, health directorates, and provincial material management centers. Additionally, the Ministry of Health and Population has stated that the central government will provide funding to federal hospitals, the Department of Health Services, the Department of Drug Management, and the Department of Ayurveda for health material procurement, with an annual budget of 30 to 35 billion Nepali rupees. These entities are authorized to make purchase independently in accordance with the Procurement Act without needing to report to higher authorities.
लगभग 753 वटै स्थानीय तहमा त्यसपछि हाम्रो महाशाखा केन्द्र 3 विभाग त्यसपछि संघीय अस्पताल सबैलाई गरेर नेपाल देशभरिको चाहिँ टोटल लगभग 30-35 अरब जति चाहिँ भन्नाले चाहिँ सामान खरिदमा जान्छ. तर ती सामान खरिद सबै ठुला मेसिन र उ हुन्छन् भन्ने छैन. एउटा थर्मोमिटर पनि खरिद हुन्छ, एउटा वेइङ मेसिन पनि खरिद हुन्छ, ग्लोब पनि खरिद हुन्छ. सार्वजनिक खरिद ऐनले जुन चाहिँ भन्नाले चाहिँ बजेट खर्च गर्ने निकाय हो जहाँ चाहिँ भन्नाले चाहिँ तलब खुवाउने त्यसमा खर्च गर्ने र चाहिँ इन्कम गर्ने अधिकार भएको छ त्यसलाई नै भन्नाले चाहिँ पूर्ण मान्छ. त्यो भन्दा माथिल्लो निकायसँग चाहिँ जानकारी दिनुपर्ने परमिसन लिनुपर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ हुँदैन.
It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what do you think about the frequent controversy surrounding the procurement process for health supplies? Your options are A, lack of transparency, B, collusion in standards, and C, no fear of consequences. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Following an agreement with the teachers, fulfilling their demands will now add an additional annual financial burden of 8 billion rupees to the state coffers. The teachers, who had taken a firm stance of not returning without the enactment of a new education law, have ended their protest after their benefits were increased. Here's what parents have to say about the agreement.
As teachers begin returning to schools, there is still uncertainty about whether students will be in classrooms starting Friday. Parents are unsure whether teachers who had gone to Kathmandu for the protest will be back in schools by Friday.
शिक्षक समाजको ऐना हुन्. ऐनालाई आफ्नो अधिकारका लागि अघि बढ्ने अधिकार छुट छ. अब यति हदसम्म चाहिँ शिक्षकहरू जानु होला र यति कर्तव्यहीन बन्नु होला अधिकारको खोजी गर्दै गर्दा उहाँहरू यति विद्यार्थीप्रति चाहिँ यति अनुदार हुनु होला भन्ने चाहिँ म आफूलाई व्यक्तिगत रूपमा चाहिँ लागेको थिएन।
Teachers who had been protesting for the enactment of an Education Act and other demands are now being watched closely by parents. How seriously they focus on improving both their professional accountability and the educational environment in schools, as well as the academic quality of students.
सरहरू आज आन्दोलन गरेर चाहिँ फर्किनु भएको छ। उहाँहरूले आफ्नो अधिकारका लागि जुन प्राप्त गर्नुभएको छ उहाँहरूले अब कर्तव्य कतिको पुरा गर्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरूको हेर्न बाँकी छ। खास गरिकन अहिले उहाँहरूलाई लाग्ने गरेको आरोप शैक्षिक गुणस्तर र विद्यार्थीहरूको पास गराउने पर्सेन्टमा वृद्धि, यो कुराहरू उहाँहरूले कति गर्नुहुन्छ। व्यवहार त हामी अभिभावकहरू सम्पूर्ण अभिभावकहरू उहाँहरूको त्यो आगामी काम उहाँहरूको कर्तव्यलाई हामी मसिनो ढङ्गले हेर्नेछौँ।
The grade 12 exams, initially scheduled for 24th of April, are now set to begin on 4th of May. Schools and teachers now face the challenge of managing the exams along with the regular classes of other students. Students have expressed disappointment due to the uncertainty around the exam schedule, and they are urging teachers to ensure that the grade 12 exams are conducted on the announced date and that the learning of other students is not compromised.
11 गते सर्यो अनि त्यसपछि हामीलाई चाहिँ अलि तनावपूर्ण अवस्था पनि भएको थियो र 21 गते एक्जाम हुन लाग्छ। अब चाहिँ गुरुहरू एक्जामको लागि अनि आफ्नो माग पूरा गरेर चाहिँ आउनु भएको छ। उनीहरूको माग के भयो अब हामीलाई त थाहा छैन, तर पनि उनीहरूले चाहिँ अब हाम्रो एक्जाम 21 गते नै होस्।
Meanwhile, school staff have expressed disagreement with the agreement reached between the government and the Teachers' Federation on Wednesday. Stakeholders are now raising concerns about how this dissatisfaction among school staff will manifest and how the government plans to address it.
In our Public Voice segment, we've asked in several provinces, how can one ensure respect for labor and promote welfare of workers? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षाको व्यवस्था गरेर उनका छोराछोरी उनका सन्ततिलाई चाहिँ उचित शिक्षा दीक्षाको प्रबन्ध गर्ने हो भने
केही श्रमदानहरू धेरै नै यसलाई चाहिँ पहिलो स्तरमा चाहिँ राख्नुपर्ने हो।
किन उद्योग कल कारखाना अथवा कुनै खोलिदिएको भएदेखि हुन्थ्यो अथवा यही सिटी नै भए पनि अब सीमित रूपमा जति चल्छ त्यही अनुसार चलाइदिएको भएदेखि केही हुन्थ्यो होला।
निजी क्षेत्रहरू छ, कल कारखानाहरू छ, सरकारी निकायहरू छ, त्यसमा न्यूनतम पारिश्रमिकको र न्यूनतम रोजगारीको चाहिँ ग्यारेन्टी हुनुपर्छ।
योगदानमा आधारित सामाजिक सुरक्षा कोषको चाहिँ व्यापक रूपमा श्रमिकहरूको विषयमा लागू गर्नुपर्छ।
महँगी बढेर कहाँसम्म माथि पुगिसक्यो, श्रमको ज्याला अहिलेसम्म तल नै छ।
हामी सुख पारी गरेको होइन, दुःखै भएर गरेको हो होइन। हामीले त फ्रीमा लाइसेन्स नाम टिपेर लगेर अनि फ्रीमा निकालिदिएको भए हामीलाई त राम्रो हुन्छ।
आफूले गरेको कामको समान ज्याला पाउनुपर्छ।
कानुन सरकारको तर्फबाट समाजले चाहिँ उहाँको पेसालाई, शर्मलाई, कामलाई पनि बुझ दिनुपर्छ र कदर पनि गर्नुपर्छ।
नेपालमा 3 तहको सरकार छ तर कुनै सरकार हेर्दैन। श्रम त आफ्नै भरमा, आफ्नै खुट्टामा आफै उभिएर आफै मरिमिटी जे हुन्छ।
जुनसुकै काम गर्दा पनि श्रमिकले नेपाल सरकारले तोके बमोजिमको पारिश्रमिक पाउनु पर्यो।
काम गर्दाखेरि उहाँहरूको सम्मान ज्याला चाहिँ सरकारले नै व्यवस्था गरिदिनुपर्छ।
श्रमिकहरूलाई स्वास्थ्य बिमा र दुर्घटना बिमा सरकारले गरिदिनु पर्यो। सामाजिक सुरक्षा कोषमा पनि आबद्ध गरिदिनु पर्यो र श्रमिक भन्ने जालादारी श्रमिक भन्ने बित्तिकै समाजमा हेर्ने दृष्टिकोण उसलाई तल्लो वर्गको रूपमा हेरिन्छ, त्यो दृष्टिकोण चाहिँ परिवर्तन गर्नु पर्यो।
पहिलाको भन्दा अलिकति केही सहज त भइरहेछ, त्यही पनि त्यो सहजमा अलिकति कमी कमजोरी त छ। त्यो कमी कमजोरीलाई सरकारले कसरी हुन्छ यसलाई सुविधा दिनुपर्छ
र श्रमको मूल्य मान्यता अनुसार राज्यले जति तोक्यो त्यो अनुसारले ठेकेदारहरूले पनि दिनुपर्छ।
राज्य कोषबाट नै यिनको बिमा, निःशुल्क औषधि उपचार राज्यले यो गर्नुपर्ने अवस्था देखिन्छ।
अब काम गराउने मान्छेले राम्रो मजदुरलाई पैसा दिनु पर्यो, सरकारले नै राम्रो हेरिदिनु पर्यो। रासन पानीहरू अनेक प्रकारको भाउ बढ्दै गएको छ।
It is time now for international update. A fourth round of Iran-US talks over Tehran's nuclear program has been postponed. Iran said the two countries, along with facilitators Oman, had jointly decided to postpone Saturday's meeting in Rome for logistical and technical reasons. The US said the timing of the talks had not been confirmed in the first place. It comes as US President Donald Trump threatened action against those buying Iranian oil or petrochemicals on Thursday after Washington introduced fresh sanctions this week on companies it said had links to Tehran. Trump pulled the US out of a previous nuclear agreement between Iran and 5 other world powers in 2018 and has long said he would make a better deal. He has previously warned of military action if these new talks, which began in April, do not succeed. Both sides described the first round of talks in Oman's capital Muscat as constructive. Iran's Foreign Minister Saeed Abbas Araghchi said that Tehran's determination to secure a negotiated solution had not changed. However, a US State Department spokesperson said Saturday's meeting had not been confirmed and that it expected the next round to take place in the near future. Oman's foreign minister said a new date would be set when agreed by all sides. US President Donald Trump has ousted his National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and named Secretary of State Marco Rubio as his interim replacement in the first major shakeup of Trump's inner circle since he took office in January. In social media posts, Trump said he would be nominating Waltz to be the next US ambassador to the United Nations, adding that he has worked hard to put the nation's interests first. Earlier in the day, sources said Trump had decided to force Waltz out of his White House position. Waltz, a 51-year-old former Republican lawmaker from Florida, faced criticism inside the White House when he was caught up in a March scandal involving a signal chat among top Trump national security aides. The National Security Advisor is a powerful role that does not require Senate confirmation. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance has clarified the removal of Mike Waltz from his job as National Security Advisor was not a firing.
I think the media wants to frame this as a firing. Donald Trump has fired a lot of people. He doesn't give them Senate-confirmed appointments afterwards. What he thinks is that Mike Waltz is going to better serve the administration, most importantly, the American people in that role, and I happen to agree with him. If the president wanted to fire him over the signal thing, which, by the way, was a total nothing burger of a story, he would have just done it. But he actually decided it's better for Mike to be in this new role. He's given Mike the new role.
Rubio will be the first person since Henry Kissinger in the 1970s to hold the positions of Secretary of State and National Security Advisor simultaneously. J.D. Vance has also said Washington hoped Pakistan would cooperate with India to hunt down Pakistan-based militants and hopes that India's response to the recent Islamist militant attack in Indian-administered Kashmir does not lead to a broader regional conflict.
Well, sure. I'm worried about any time you see a hotspot breaking out, especially between two nuclear powers. We've obviously been in close contact with our friends in India and Pakistan. Our hope here is that India responds to this terrorist attack in a way that doesn't lead to a broader regional conflict. And we hope, frankly, that Pakistan, to the extent that they're responsible, cooperates with India to make sure that the terrorists, sometimes operating in their territory, are hunted down and dealt with. That's how we hope this unfolds. We're obviously in close contact. We'll see what happens.
Meanwhile, residents of a village along the India-Pakistan border in Rajasthan say they are not fearful despite rising tensions between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. As the prospect of conflict loomed, some locals expressed readiness to support Indian troops, while others voiced concern over the challenges of relocating livestock during the intense summer heat.
कोई हमारे को डर न भय है यदि युद्ध हो गया तो हम भारत की आर्मी के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर उनके साथ जाएंगे उनको रास्ता दिखाने के लिए पानी का राशन का जो भी हमारे को मदद मांगे हम आर्मी की मदद करेंगे कोई डर नहीं है हमारे को
मुश्किल तो होनी है ये गर्मी की मौसम बहुत ही मुश्किल ही होगी माल मवेशी यहाँ से पीछे कर दिया तो प्यास मर जाएगी वो तो क्या
गांव भी खाली करने पड़ेगा
गांव खाली करना पड़ेगा गवर्नमेंट का ऑर्डर हुआ तो करना भी पड़ेगा तब तो बहुत ही मुश्किल होगी ये बेचारे पशु मर जाएंगे यहाँ.
The conflict erupted last week when Islamist assailants attacked a meadow teeming with tourists in Kashmir's Pahalgam area. Segregated men asked their names and shot Hindus at close range. Officials and survivors said at least 26 people, mostly tourists, were killed in the incident. Since the attack, troops from both India and Pakistan have exchanged small arms fire across their frontier for the past 7 days, but no casualties have been reported so far. Villages in the northwestern Indian state, which shares a border with Pakistan, are equipped with bunkers to shelter residents in case of emergency situation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held meetings with top officials this week and told his military chiefs that they have the freedom to decide the country's response to the Pahalgam attack. And that is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.